Owning a cat can be super rewarding, but it's a lot of responsibility. Not everything's always in one place of everything you need to know, so that's what this video is going to be about. Typically, cats live for about 14 years, but they can live a lot longer. I currently have 2 cats, which are 15 and 6, but I have known a cat to live up to 23. No 2 cats are the same, but understanding their behaviour and biology can help you understand a bit more what's going on inside your little critter's brain. Now, first thing I will say, there is no perfect one way because every cat is different. I always say it's easiest to think of them as another person. If you disagree with anything that I say, feel free to leave a comment down below. I've tried to make sure to get reliable information compiled into one place. Any mistakes are not intentional, and I hope that you learned something new. This video is accurate and true to the best of my knowledge. It's not designed to be a substitute for a diagnosis, treatment, prescription, prognosis, formal or individual advice from a veterinary medical professional. The contents of this video includes, but is not limited to, behaviour, company, or this is probably just the intro to both, so if you're in the company and behaviour video, welcome. But if not, let's get into it. I'll be sprinkling little cat facts throughout, and this is our first one. Cats have a range of ways of communicating, including purrs, meows, trills, purrups, growls, yowls, and hisses. They also communicate visually using different body postures, as well as visual markers, such as scratch marks or the depositing of poop. So now we're going to move on to cat behaviour. Now, I actually think that this is a very crucial part of cat care, that observing your cat and understanding how your cat behaves and is communicating with you is the best thing you can do when taking care of your cat. But these can be difficult to understand. I'm going to go over some things about general cat behaviours, good behaviours, bad behaviours, neutral behaviours, and I'm also going to undergo some company stuff, things that you can use to get to know your cat, to understand your cat and the way that they're trying to communicate with you. So obviously, if your cat is particularly active, they will need opportunities to exercise. I believe Bengals are actually best as an outdoor cat because they are so active. But if you have something more lazy or laxical like a rag doll, they tend to like to sleep more, they're a bit more floppy, they don't really mind so much. So cat breeds can be very important. A lot of people just have Moggies and that's absolutely fine. But different cats have different personalities, different activity levels, different stamina, things that they like to do, and you just got to figure out what's best for you. So naturally they spend a great team around their homes, their territory, and sometimes they might hunt for food. They are playful and often enjoy having fun with people and toys. One of the fun things that you can do, and this is just a little anecdote, is if you're in bed and you want to play with your cat, if you actually get your finger under the duvet and kind of run your finger under the duvet, it'll create like a little lump and your cat will chase it and it'll kind of simulate a mouse, and you kind of do that and they'll go. It's just really fun. But a way that a cat behaves does depend on their age, their personality, their past experiences. For example, frightening experiences and punishment may lead to behaviour problems. I will touch on this more later, but one thing that I've noticed is that cats can sometimes playfully bite or scratch, not in a harmful way that will actually hurt you, but in a way just to play. And if you punish your cat for this, this will make them feel like they can't be playful with you or reluctant to be playful with you. So make sure that you are actually diagnosing cats' malicious behaviour and cats' playful behaviour, as they kind of do similar things in varying degrees. If your cat is trying to hurt you, you will know. Cats are predators. They have sharp teeth and sharp claws. If they are trying to hurt you, they will. Just to add what I was saying in the clip, cats can also bite you as a warning. I will show an example of this. You tell me off. But make sure that you're understanding why your cat is doing this and do not chastise them if it is not their fault. So if you are a bit ambiguous on whether they were trying to hurt you or not, or whether they were just playing, it's probably just playing. If you are worried that your cat is stressed, there are some behaviours that you can look out for. Some of this is over grooming. I've even seen cats, unfortunately, that groom themselves to the point of actually having bald spots or being bald. If they hide, if they sleep hunched. Hi, so I'm kind of doing this off the cuff, but I wanted to go over some sleeping positions as I also think that that can be really important. So the first one I'm going to talk about is when the cats are curled up. This is a really common sleeping position for cats to be in. It indicates that they're secure and they're feeling comforted, especially if their tail's wrapped around their body for added warmth. Another one is on their back. It's rare, but it's not uncommon in relaxed and secure cats. Our cat Nimmy often sleeps on their back. They expose their belly, signifying trust. It may also indicate a desire for a belly rub. but not always. If they are completely sprawled out, it reflects complete relaxation and contentment. Legs are extended, the body is loosely arranged, and it's typically seen in confident and happy cats. The half circle position is when the cat sleeps on one side with curved legs, common in cats that feel safe and secure, and it offers a balance between relaxation and alertness. Now, if they are curled with their tail underneath, the tail is neatly tucked between the body. It indicates a desire for warmth and protection, common in colder environments when feeling vulnerable. Now, there are some positions that your cat might sleep in when they feel sick or they want to be more alert. One is the hunch posture, which we've just gone over. Another is avoiding typical places they would rather sleep in. This might indicate joint pain, arthritis, or an injury that makes their usual sleeping places just less appealing to them. Restless sleeping patterns are also one to look out for. Shifting, twitching, inability to get comfortable. Now, it is common for cats to circle their sleeping place before they lie down, so that's nothing to worry about. But if they're constantly getting up and they can't get comfortable, that might be a sign of something else. Sometimes they can curl up their paws tucked under them so that they can protect vulnerable areas. I've seen conflicting information about this, where they actually tuck their paws under them because they don't feel like they're going to need to use their claws anytime soon, so it can be a sign of comfort as well. It really depends on the greater context of when they're tucking their paws. So now back to the video. If they're reluctant or altered in their feeding routines, or if they're toileting in different places. If your cats are frightened or in pain, this may change their behaviour or develop unwanted habits such as aggression, spraying indoors, appearing or avoiding people. One thing that I want to say is that cats can recognize your facial expressions and they recognize your face. So if you are doing mean faces to your cat, they know. They know. You might think that you're getting away with it and just being like, oh, you're so annoying. Your cats can tell when you're angry. Your cats can tell when you're happy. This is why it's always important that when you're engaging with your cat, you do it in a happy, kind of nonchalant, welcoming way so that they feel safe around you. They don't want to see you as a threat. They live with you. They didn't choose to be there. You chose them to be there. You're the cat's unwanted roommate. If you're being a dick to them, they will be a dick back. And did you know that there are actually studies that found that cats' meows are similar to the frequencies of that of human babies, so that they're more likely to get attention from their owners? I just thought that was pretty fun. But anyway, I'm going to go over some positive cat behaviours with you. If you are concerned about any of these behaviours, do not worry. These are the good ones. I will try and give as many examples as I can, but depending on my editing time, we'll just have to see how that goes. So the first positive sign is your cat showing your belly to you. If they show their belly, this is a big sign of trust. You've got to remember that the belly is the most vulnerable part of the cat. That is where all their kind of internal organs are. I mean, some cats do lie on their back just because they find it comfortable, but understand they wouldn't do this if they didn't trust you, even if it is just because they find it comfortable. Some cats make a show of showing their belly to you to be like, look, I trust you. Other cats just find it comfortable, but as soon as they feel insecure, they will tuck their belly away. It is a sign of trust. A second one, which you might find pretty easy to overlook, is actually eye contact. If your cat looks you in the eye, it is a sign of familiarity and trust. A cute little one's actually napping with you. This signals that they view you as part of their tribe and they want to keep you safe. And it also signals that to the cat, that you trust them, that you would be comfortable sleeping around them. It's just a nice bonding experience for them. They really appreciate that. You've got to think, when they were with their litter mates, this is all what they do. They'd all sleep together, and this is what you're doing with your cat. Do not lock your cat out of the bedroom. I've seen so many people doing this because they just think it's unhygienic, they just don't like it. You are saying to your cat, I do not trust you, I do not probably like you if you do this. There are some cats that will eventually get used to it and understand that it's maybe not that big of a deal, but for most cats, this is you signaling to the cat, I don't trust you. And that's a big thing for cats. I find a lot of times in cat socialization and cat interaction, the two big things is respect and trust. Your cats will not respect you if they do not trust you, and if your cats do not respect you, they will not listen to you. Our cats actually listen to us a lot. Another thing that I think is quite cool that you could easily overlook is sometimes if you look at your cat, they'll go like this. That's kind of like a what's up, kind of acknowledging that you're there. If you do it back, they'll probably just go back to what they're doing, but it's just, you'll be like, yeah, I see you. And the slow blinking. Oof, this is an honor. An honor. This is your cat saying, I love you. Now, if you're looking for a slow blink, it's obviously different if they're sleeping, but basically they're kind of look at you, they'll close their eyes, and then they'll open them like that. It is so innocuous, you might miss it. This is your cat lowering their guard and being like, I trust you so much, I don't have to look at you to know that I'm safe with you. I love you. Another thing's winking. Now, I haven't quite sourced out winking and I can't find much on it, but there is some weird social interaction that goes on with winking. So a lot of times if I wink at my cat, they'll take that as a signal to come and get cuddled. They'll just come, get cuddles. Or other times, if the cat winks at me, then I wink back, they'll wink again, and then I'll wink back, and we get into this weird winking war where we're both winking at each other, and I don't know what it means, but it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. It tends to make them quite comfortable and happy, so it means something, but I haven't sussed that one out. Now, a big part of your cat's communication, other than their facial muscles, because I actually think cats' faces have a lot of the same kind of reactions that humans does, they're just a lot more subtle, but their tail is a massive part of their communication. So a lot of times if you see your cat and they can have a fluid tail movement, this means that they're happy or excited to see you. If their tail is straight and it's just kind of like fluidly, if you're looking for a positive tail sign, the big thing is that it's fluid. Your cat's tail isn't swishing. Solid, moving like that. Because this is a greeting. This is your cat saying, I'm happy you're home. It's good to see you. If your cat is just upright stiff, it's like alert. And that's probably, I'd say that's more of a neutral. It's not, I'll probably include that in the neutral section, but your cat's tail is a massive part in how they communicate with you. If your cat doesn't tend to use their tail, this could be a sign of maybe when they had litter mates, or if they were in a place before you, maybe it wasn't fully comfortable for using their tail and they don't use their tail as much for signaling to you. It is cat dependent. My cats personally use it. I do have one cat where she was raised around other cats and she doesn't tend to use her tail as much for signaling. As she's gotten more comfortable over the years, it's been incorporated more into her socialization, but for the most part she still keeps it quite low to the ground to stop other cats from kind of getting it, even though that doesn't happen anymore. Another positive sign is your cat just coming to see you when you come home, and this might be so innocuous as just your cat coming halfway down the stairs and just looking at you, but the fact that they've actually got up from where they were sleeping to come see you? You're ugly, Buck? It's a good thing. Now, I included meowing in here. Meowing's one of those ones where there are positive meows, there are negative meows. It just really depends on your understanding of them. I could probably do a whole video on just the different types of meows that my cats do. I will try and demonstrate some of them because I think it's really important to understand. Really can signal what your cat wants or what they're thinking. So the best way I can describe it is short, more high-pitched meows.
Nimmy. What is it?
Are a good indication that it's a positive meow. Now, my cat likes to do this thing of sometimes if she's happy and I'm talking to her, she'll go meow, meow. That's a good indication that it's a happy meow. Sometimes if I just talk to her, I'll be like, Nimmy, and she'll go meow, meow. Those they're little short ones, little chirps, are good ones. Sometimes you'll see your cat looking at a bird and they go, ah. I can't even do it. I'll include a video. That's just them getting excited. Basically, they mimic the sounds of their prey to make their prey feel more comfortable and approach them so that they can catch them. But yeah, the shorter the meow is, it's probably a good one. I will demonstrate the kind of other ones in my bad behaviors. Now, obviously, purring is a sign that your cat is happy. Excessively purring while over grooming can be different. Some cats do this to self-soothe, but in general, if you're cuddling your cat and you're purring, it's a good thing. And it's at a healing frequency, man. You can just zone out. It's a good thing. Now, if your cat paws at you, it usually means that they want attention. Or they want cuddles, or they want you to look at them. Headbutting's also quite a good sign, kind of rubbing against you, butting their head against you. That's just them being like, I love you, man. Now, I don't know if a lot of cats do this. This is something my cat does in particular. But they put their paw on you, and this is because my cat doesn't like getting super close. She has a very big personal space barrier. She doesn't like her face being super close, whereas my other cat loves that. She will like nuzzle her nose into our noses. But this particular cat will put her paw on me so that she feels close to me while keeping a social distancing. Kneading's also a common one that's quite good. This replicates when they used to feed off their mum, and they would do that to tease the milk out, and it's just a sign that they're pretty content. Now, if your cat just stands in front of you, and I see this is so common, sometimes you'll see people being like, they're just sitting on my keyboard, they're sitting in front of the TV. This is your cat trying to get your attention. They're like, I'm here, you should be observing this magnificence. And my cat can also do this when she's hungry, because my cat doesn't like to impose herself on us too much, but if she's hungry, she'll kind of sit there and be like, I need fed, feed me, bro. Whereas my other cat will just start crying out to the high heavens, being like, I'm dying, save me. But our other cat, she's really good. She'll just sit there and go, where's the food at? So weaving in between your feet is a really annoying habit, but it's actually a sign of tribalism. If you had two sibling cats, you often see them walking side by side, rubbing against each other, winding their tails together. Your cat's trying to do this with you, it's just not as convenient. Another really positive sign is if your cat is sleeping on your clothes. It's somewhere that smells like you. It signals that the cat feels safe to rest there because you are there, and that your smell is a comfort to them. And this also combines with the whole idea that there's a tribe smell, and where the tribe is, it's kind of their territory, they're safe, and they're surrounded by people that love them. Now, I'm going to do a sleeping next to you versus sleeping on you. They are both positive things, but they can mean slightly different depending on which one your cat does, but they are good. So if your cat chooses to sleep on you, it means they trust you implicitly. It is a sign of affection and a strong bond to you. Your cat seeks warmth, security, and comfort by resting on your lap, chest, or head. It's their way of showing you that they feel safe and content in your presence, and it's, like I said, it's something that they did with their litter mates. And if your cat sleeps next to you, it is generally a sign of trust and comfort as well, but by opting to be close during vulnerable moments like sleep, your cat indicates that they feel safe and secure beside you, but they also feel more comfortable with the ability to be vigilant for threats, consideration for disturbing your sleep, and things like temperature, because cats are actually very considerate of their owners. So I heard someone characterize this online. If they are sleeping on you or by your head, it means that they feel very protected by you, and if they're sleeping by your feet or kind of next to you, it means that they feel like they're protecting you. With all that, we're going to go on to kind of neutral behaviours. These are behaviours that aren't particularly good or bad. It could be an instinctual thing. It could just be something that cats just do. Obviously, I've already talked about zooming, like the zoomies. That's probably a neutral behaviour. Other neutral behaviours I'll be including is probably a lot of their hunting behaviours. So for example, one of them is when they dip their head down and start wiggling their bum. That's them hunting, and you should watch them because they make pounce, and I just think that's adorable. And your cat keeps low to the ground. They kind of put their ears down, their eyes are wide. This is a hunting stance. They're trying to stay still to not alert their target. Another way that you can actually see if your cat is being alert by something is if your cat is just still. Like they're almost afraid that if they move, something will happen, and their eyes are wide. They've probably heard something that you can't hear because their hearing's a lot better than ours, and they're trying to see if they can hear it or see it. We actually get a cat sometimes that comes to the door, and our cats will do this by the stairs. They'll just sit and they'll stare because the cat will come right up to the window, and it's actually so creepy. I'll have to see if I can get a picture of this demon cat for you guys. He is the scariest cat I've ever seen. Not even just the way that he looks through the kind of distorted glass, but just him as a cat actually terrifies me. He terrifies me, and I love cats so much. I've never seen a creepier cat. Oh! Another one is the meerkat bobbing of the head. Now, if you don't know what this is, I will demonstrate. I am not good at doing this, but you kind of see them go. That's because they're curious about something and they're trying to see it. If your cat circles an area before lying down, this is them kind of securing the area and making sure that it's safe before sleeping. Although if, and I say this just because I've seen this, if your cat is continually circling the one place, that could be a sign that something's happened, like a stroke or something is wrong with them. They shouldn't just be continually circling around for hours. Your cat should go, they circle a couple of times, and they lie down. That is a normal behaviour. Anyway, another kind of neutral behaviour is if your cat is kind of rubbing their muzzle on things or on you. If it's on you, it's probably more of a positive thing. They're kind of marking you. They actually have scent glands where their whiskers are, which will secrete marking their territory. So these transfer to the object, and then that lays the land. They can also do this to self-soothe and cuddle themselves, especially if you're in a cuddling session and they're doing it. It can be like stroking themselves. But a lot of times this is what's called scent marking. It's just them putting their claim on the land. So now we're going to move on to a slightly rougher topic, which is the negative or abnormal behaviours that you should probably look out for as something could be wrong. First one I will talk about, because I did cover it briefly, is meowing. So the first one I'm going to talk about, a lot of cat people will be familiar with. I only put it into the negative category because it is kind of inherently negative, but cats do this all the time. And that is moaning complaint meow.
Nimmy.
Oh no. She's trapped. Hi. You okay? Now I will have tons of footage of this from my cat because she does this all the time. She'll complain if I get up too late. She'll complain if she's been fed 2 minutes late. She'll complain if I'm not in the right room that she wants me to be in. She will turn around and be like, I don't want to be in this room. Can we move? So I won't demonstrate it because you will be able to see plenty more where that came from.
Nimmy. Yes.
Another way, and I will try and get footage of this while I'm editing. I have a cat who actually does do a scared yowl pretty often, and that is because she has night terrors for some reason. I believe it's from experiences that she had before she came to us, but she will wake herself up yowling. She will yowl probably until we come and soothe her and tell her that it's okay. We shouldn't laugh at this, but one thing that is quite funny, sometimes she wakes herself up with a hiss, and she'll kind of look like she's moved time and space, and she'll be like, oh, I'm here. She doesn't do that very often. Most of the times it's just yowls. She's actually upgraded recently, whereas she knows it gets our attention now, so sometimes she'll just do it if she wants us to come see her, which is a bit naughty, but that's not too common. Most of the time she's pretty good about leaving it when she's just had a bad dream. Though it isn't ideal when she does it when you're sleeping and you're lying there and all you hear is her go meow 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 meow, and you're like, come on bro, 3 a.m. So if you're wondering about whether your cat is doing a negative meow or a positive meow, the negative meows tend to be categorized by, they can be high pitched, but the most defining feature is actually they're long drawn out. So if your cat is doing a meow that's like, that's usually a complaint. That's usually, if you think about how humans are when they complain they go, oh, why? That's the same with your cats. When your cats are happy, they can go, yeah, right, okay. When they're annoyed, they go, oh, why? Ugh. It's the same with your cats. It's the same kind of thing, same kind of frequencies. When they're scared, it'll obviously be a bit more of a yowl. It'll be a bit more of a meow. But if they're complaining at you, it'll be a bit more of a meow. And you can actually tell sometimes their teeth go up higher. Another negative behaviour is toilet behaviours that are outside the litter box. Now obviously I've talked a little bit about this, but I'll just specify here, this is a formal complaint. This is your cat writing a letter to the manager and being like, yo bro, get this sorted. They do not like something, especially if they target things that smell like you. Now I've had an experience with this and I'll give you a little anecdote. Initially when we got Lily, she didn't like other cats, but she was getting really bad separation anxiety. We actually got one of the cats that came from the home that she came with, and this turned out really badly. We ended up getting rid of him the next day, and when I say getting rid of him, I mean returning him to his house, not putting him to the streets. We ended up having to basically separate them in 2 rooms because Lily really didn't like it. She really wasn't comfortable. This was before I knew about like properly introducing cats and things like that. I will say that I was pretty young. It was nearly like 9 years ago now. But what happened was I ended up staying with the new cat just because obviously he was in a new environment. He was a bit freaked out. My roommate stayed with Lily, and the next day Lily specifically targeted my clothes and put in her formal complaint because I gave attention to the stranger. Yes, so that's the only time that has ever happened to me, and I have never forgotten it because she deliberately made sure to hide it as well. She did, because my clothes was on the ground. She put in her complaint, and I will say there was a little bit in the litter, and then she decided, she was like, no, actually I'm going to put in my complaint. She got out the litter box, put in her complaint, and then she got her paw and covered it. Yes, so usually if your cats poo on things, there's something they don't like, it is a formal complaint. Take it seriously and don't do what I did. Another thing that if you haven't done anything in particular, they might just not like the conditions. Something might have happened to something that they really like. Maybe their bed, maybe they don't feel like they have enough space, maybe they need more playtime, maybe the litter's not clean. There's something that's going on that your cat doesn't like and you need to figure it out. If they are spraying in particular, and this happens whether it's a boy or a girl, because she used to come into my room and scent mark the room to deter other cats from going in there. So girls can do it too, but boys are particularly bad for this. Sometimes if they sense another cat in the area, they will scent mark the house. And this can be hard to diagnose because you won't know the other cat's there, you can't hear them, you can't smell them, but they can. So that might be an issue. So if that's happening, you might need to try and deter the cat from coming close to your house. Or it could just be that they're ready to mate. It really depends whether they're altered or unaltered, whether something's happening or not, but it is a complaint and they are feeling a bit insecure. Growling for the most part is a warning. They sometimes do it when they play, but you will know the difference. Our cat, when she plays, she kind of does a like a dog, but if they are growling, because we always say Lily is very vocal in her discontent, she will kind of do that low guttural like if she's unhappy or uncomfortable with something. So just be wary of that. It's usually a warning. It's usually like I'm a dangerous animal, back up. This is kind of amplified to the next level if they hiss at you. If they hiss at you, that's a do not step any closer to me. Back off. Now, that is your hiss, right? So most times they do this actually when they're scared. So hissing for the most part isn't a sign of aggression, it's a sign of feeling frightened. If they're being aggressive, most of the times they'll growl. If they're feeling frightened, that's when they hiss. A lot of times when you see cats fighting, they'll be growling at each other, and it's only when the cat moves towards the other cat they'll hiss. And the reason why they hiss is actually pretty fascinating. They emulated it because cats seem to be really good emulators. Like I said, they emulate babies' cries. Kind of the same reason why geese do it. The hissing is associated with a snake, and the snake is obviously poisonous. So when the cats hiss at things, it kind of signals to the other animal, hey, I'm poisonous. You might want to back off. Now, you can also tell if a cat is frightened by when a cat arches its back. Now, this I've seen people kind of talk about. It's kind of a known thing. But if your cat is still and then it arches its back a lot and kind of does that whole weird side walking thing, it's because it doesn't want to take attention off of what it's looking at, and it's doing a defensive stance of making itself appear bigger so that it's more frightening. But really it is just them being like, I'm scared. And this is something that I wanted to talk about, is cat aggression, because I think that cat aggression can be particularly interesting. So one of the things is that if your cat is being aggressive when you've not yet entered their space, and I kind of define their space being 1 to 2 feet around them. I'll try and use a visual picture if I can. But if you've not entered that space and they're being aggressive with you, it could actually indicate a mental health struggle. Now, this is something that we don't commonly attribute to cats, but it can happen. And if it's severe enough, like the anxiety and the fright, they might even need to be medicated, and it's something that you need to talk to your vet about. The way that you know if your cat has something kind of mentally wrong with them is if they're almost very comfortable with you sometimes, and then it's almost like they get a jolt of anxiety and they just flip out. And it can be very, traumatic for the cat because they kind of go through these states of being, okay, I'm safe, I'm fine. And then for no reason, they freak out. So you do need to talk to your vet about it. I'll try and see if I can source the footage of where this was very beneficial to a cat and they actually were completely changed as a result of the medication due to their ongoing mental health struggles.
This is May.
Well, okay, the first thing I noticed, what's up with her hair?
The vet says it is stress over grooming.
I mean, this cat has licked herself bald, and she's doing it in a very methodical way. She is coming after me like a cat on fire. The exercise and challenge line is about finding a rational spot where I need to stop my stimulation of a cat. There is no rational spot with May, and that concerns me. This is a conciliatory gesture. She's literally reaching out to me. There's no doubt in my mind. A shroud disappears from her, that shroud of madness, and reveals a much sweeter version of May, desperate to find a way out. And that's why I'm here. We have a momentary emergence of reason, followed by a whole lot of crazy. I don't know what else to do with you. I really don't. I literally have not been beaten up this bad in a long time. I mean, there comes a moment where if I don't call it quits soon, I'm gonna lose a digit. Wait, what's that? You gave a blank? Right when I give up, May is showing me vulnerability. May needs help. So we gotta get to work. First and foremost, we gotta get her on medication. Mentally, she's suffering, and that's the bottom line. If your cat is a threat to themselves or a threat to others, and it's in a very unpredictable way, your cat is suffering, and your cat needs help. Period. End of sentence.
What I'm talking about with this particular situation, though, is not applicable if they perceive that they're in danger or they're not yet safe or in an unfamiliar place. Because a cat is obviously going to be more on guard if it doesn't feel safe yet, if they're in a new place or around a new person and they're suddenly aggressive. That's not abnormal behavior. That's just your cat feeling like it's in a corner and it needs to kind of expand. A cat scratch is an attack. Some recommendations dealing with cat scratches is that it could be that your cat is doing this by accident or as a kind of automatic reaction. So this is especially if your cat comes from kind of a bad or unknown background. We had this when we first got Lily. She was very used to being around other cats all the time and would get into a lot of scraps. So when we first got Lily, she was very sensitive to us being around her. And if we didn't make our presence known to her and we gave her a fright by accident, she would turn around and slash us. Now, she would always apologize. She's actually a very, very loving cat. And now she's not aggressive at all. She's gotten out of all those behaviors. But like I said, 9 years ago when we first got her, she was very on edge all the time and she would scratch us, but it would not be deliberate. It was because she was so used to being on guard all the time. It was just an automatic reaction. If this is the case, if it is an accident or just automatic, do not tell them off. You want your cat to feel like they trust you, that they're safe around you. If you're unsure whether your cat actually knows that this is an attack and that their claws hurt, because sometimes this can happen if they're taken away from their mothers too long, they don't understand that their claws are painful. You have to audibly show your cat that it's painful. So if your cat accidentally turns around and slashes you, you go, ow, ow. Do the facial expressions, be a bit dramatic about it, because you need to signal to the cat, this hurts, this is painful, you are hurting me. Because a lot of times your cat actually doesn't want to hurt you. It's just a natural defense mechanism that they have. And once they start to realize that this is painful, they should start to get out of that behavior as they feel more safe around you. And like I said, my cat Lily, she is the ultimate love bug now. She would never think about harming us. She is very independent, has very strict boundaries, unlike our other cat, but she would never intentionally harm us. And if she did intentionally harm us, she would always come up and apologize. If they are scratching you deliberately, this is another thing that you need to kind of become Sherlock Holmes and investigate why this is happening. Did you invade their space without their permission? Did they feel threatened? Is your cat actively seeking out you to hurt you? Because this is something that cats can do when they hold a grudge against people, when they don't particularly like someone. And I've known this happen. Lily did this with who she was previously with. She would follow them around the house, and when they got too close to her, she would scratch them. This is particularly a behavior where they're holding a grudge against someone. They don't particularly like someone. And if that is the case, you need to find out why. Is it something that you did? Do they not feel safe where they are? And if that is the case, you might just need to think about rebuilding your friendship. I am going to do a little section on how to keep your cat company, how to build relationships with your cat, how to make sure that you aren't invading their space and do this properly. But you've got to think about the reasons why your cat might not like you, why they might not trust you. And again, that is also considering if their behavior is erratic or, excessively aggressive. You might want to consider mental health options. But in general, I always recommend treating your cat like they are a person. If you do not know a person or you do not like a person, you will not want them coming up and hugging you and touching you. It's the same for a cat. You need to introduce yourself slowly. And again, I'll go over a lot of that. But again, this is best discussed with a vet about treatment options. So another negative behavior, which will not be common for a lot of people to experience, or it might, is your cat eating inedible food. Now, I wouldn't count plastic in this because eating plastic can just be a thing that they can do because they enjoy the texture and taste of it for some reason. They tend to chew it rather than swallowing it, but my cats do this because they know we don't like it and they want to get our attention because they're ours sometimes. If they are eating inedible objects, they might have something called pica. And this usually happens in kittens, and a lot of times they grow out of it. But it can happen when taken away from their mother too young. For example, before we knew that our cat had pica, she actually ended up eating a whole earbud, like one of those earbuds that you sleep in to cancel out sounds. And luckily it came out of her and she was safe. But after that, just anything that's small cannot be around her because she will try and eat it. There are times when we will be eating something and maybe, the bin's just been taken out, there's nothing in it, you'll just put the wrapper down for 5 minutes. She will grab that and bolt to try and eat it because she knows she's not allowed it. And so anything that is kind of small enough for her to eat, she will try and get it. So you have to be careful if your cat is doing this. It might not be something that you can fix, but it can be something that you can try and mitigate. Yeah, let me know if you've learned anything new, but I always try and make sure everything's reliable, and I hope that you enjoyed it. A little switch up on topics, a little switch up in appearance, but it's all part of the ride. So like, follow, subscribe. I try and put out videos every Wednesday, but they might be later depending on my schedule. Just trying my best.